why so many women living abroad, American voters living abroad, don't bother to vote.
I
I,
think that's in
I,
our scope.
I still feel, I say this all the time. I have two American daughters who live in Austria, and they're very close to Hungary. It's only a half an hour drive to the world of Orban, and Germany is right next to Poland. And Poland has been struggling with democracy, and we have Democrats abroad, Italy, and there are elements in Italy that are also pulling in this direction of taking power away from women, and we cannot influence politics in our host country. I don't vote in the German elections, but I fear for my daughters, um, if if freedom for women and equality for women collapses in the United States, it's a giant go ahead sign. It's a giant green light for every other country to roll over the women and roll over the democracy and do this sort of Trump MAGA version of, what do they call it? Illiberal democracy, I think, is what
Mm-hmm.
Bon refers to, and there's another term that he uses, but as an American living overseas, I think we all should pay attention to what's going on, not just in the United States, but in the our neighboring countries, our host countries.
Yeah, I agree because honestly, if it happens to the United States and there's no pushback, then what's going to stop other countries from doing it? So, yeah, American women, you're not really that safe like you think that you are. Because I hear this from a lot of people. Oh, I'm not living in the United States. And it's like, yeah, of course, the United States is like a thousand tentacle octopus, you
Yeah.
know? And
Shannon,
it's
what is the situation for women in Canada? Do
um
you feel, is there a right wing crazy movement in Canada as well?
yes, and it comes up from the States. I was just about to say that there's a saying in politics and political science in Canada, when when the US gets when the US sneezes, Canada gets cold.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And that's definitely what's happened with the right wing element. We have a guy up here who is right wing, and I absolutely, with all of my heart and 100% of my being, believe he would not have become popular if the right wing element in the States, the MAGA element, had not happened. He
Mhm.
just doesn't become popular. It 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 doesn't happen. And being so close to the States, being, as we're fondly referred to, Canada, America's hat, um, we call ourselves that, when we're not taking ourselves too seriously. Um, you know, we still, American citizens living in Canada, there's so many of us that, I have a family member included, but I think it's simply, they see it as a time issue, and I don't begrudge them, but I will
Mhm.
remind time. them They that,
Yeah.
don't have time to vote. What? yeah, well, I will remind them gently that that um that it it does matter, particularly to us up here in Canada, that what happens, and so I being part of, I am a dual citizen, so I get to work, in Canadian politics as well, and I have been witness front seat to, as MAGA has come up, the
Hmm.
right wing element has come up, and they've paralleled each other. So
Oh.
I don't feel great about women's rights in Canada at the moment, even though abortion is, you know, basically a solid right in Canada, and, gay marriage and all, there's lots of rights that are solid. I don't feel like they couldn't, there isn't some way that the right wing element couldn't get around it.
Wow. Shannon, I know that you're very deeply involved in the Equal Rights Amendment issue as an American voter, as an American citizen. What is the status of equal rights for women in Canada, for example?
It's enshrined in the Constitution in
Oh,
1980,
is it?
1981, I believe, when the Constitution was repatriated. Women were included in the Constitution.
Oh,
Wow. That's
interesting.
great. I mean,
And
I know I don't sound like it because I'm like, yeah, wow, that's great, but I'm a little envious.
well, the American side of me gets envious of the Canadian side.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. I think, yeah, women need to take this election seriously, like more seriously than they took all the other ones since Trump got elected, because I feel, do either one of you ever feel like we're back in like 2016?
To some
Yeah.
extent, but I know, and I know Shannon will confirm Shannon has the statistics at her fingertips all the time, but since 2016, now fact check me here because I don't have the facts. Since 2016, isn't it true that whenever women's issues have been on the ballot, that we've won? Even when Trump was in office, we had in 2018 in the midterm there was a surge of women coming into Congress, and measures that came up in the what was it, 2020, it seems to me that whenever the question was asked again after Trump came in, the reply was a resounding hell no, we're not going to do it like that. Isn't that true? Did they make any progress on their horrible issue, except for, of course, at the judicial level? But when it was put to the people and people got to vote, it seems to me that women's rights have always won.
But
Is that
only
true?
when people vote. And that means that we all have to vote from abroad, and the vote from abroad does matter.
Mm.
So everyone vote.
Yeah,
Vote.
no joke, no kidding.
Yeah, no joke. Well, we'll see you on the next time, and
All right,
because we have a lot to say
we
for
certainly
real.
do.
Yeah.